What's up, party people? This is O the Peacemaker. What are we on? Episode 7, Love and Fear. I'm driving through traffic, and I want to make sure I get this message to y'all extra early tomorrow. So I'm hitting it right now so I can drop it, and then boom, we can do some inspiration first thing in the morning. What am I going to choose today? Okay, let's talk about truth versus mistruth, or honesty versus dishonesty. I know those aren't really like emotions, because that's kind of been the theme of Love and Fear, right? It's emotions. But honesty and dishonesty, I don't feel they come from good or bad people per se, because especially when it comes down to your motivation as to why you're being one or the other. I feel like honesty, for the most part, comes from courage. It comes from love, on the like regular everyday consciousness level. And I believe that, that people that lie aren't necessarily bad. They're usually just scared. They're scared of the truth, or scared of hurting somebody, or scared of being found out. Let's see. Let's talk about the shamanic implications, the higher consciousness, spiritual energy, whatever you want to call it, fifth dimensional value of truth versus mistruth. If you refer back to the Toltec belief, word is the ability to create. They specifically refer to the passage from the Bible. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God, meaning that is the ability to create. We create with word, both written and spoken, both outbound and inbound. How we speak to others and how we speak to ourselves create our reality. And even if it isn't literal and instant, the beginning of creations begin with words. So if your intentions, according to the Toltec tradition, if your intention is to make what you know in your heart to be mistruth, and trying to make that someone else's truth, trying to make them believe they are ugly or fat or less than, or trying to make them think that you're better than them, or anything that isn't true. That is called a spell, like putting someone under a spell. And what are we taught at a young age? To spell words. And we're also taught not to curse. That is almost like putting somebody on a curse. Even if that person is not ugly or stupid, if you say they are and they accept that, then it is the same as if they were born ugly or stupid. So you have essentially put a spell or a curse on somebody. And what's it like, when you watch Disney movies and, the evil witch puts a curse on the hero, they fall asleep, or they act crazy, or they do something that's out of their character. And that's exactly what a spell does. It causes someone to behave differently than they naturally would. Again, staying out of right and wrong, but talking about what are the actual mechanics and the function. What is the practical nature of this thing? As much as I love like hippie stuff and fifth dimensional, things and quantum physics and talking to angels and all that, I'm also like OG, I was raised in the streets. I snowboard. There's no positive affirmation that keeps you from breaking your spine if you screw up on a rail or a big jump. And I'm a businessman, so there's very little room in my life for beliefs that are not functional. So getting back to the subject at hand, the act of speaking mistruth to them, even though I don't believe necessarily in good and evil, or the biblical context that is, they would teach you that if you want, that evil did not exist on the earth until man showed up. And when man was created and started to speak, that good came from truth and evil came from mistruth. And it is said that dark work is not the absence of light, but the misuse of it. So the most evil thing you could possibly do is tell yourself or tell other people that you're doing something out of good when really it's about manipulation. Truth is one of the most powerful energies in the universe. And I'll tell you why. One, it is said that if something will be destroyed when the truth comes out, then it deserves to be destroyed. Two, truth can unravel curses and spells. That it is white magic and mistruth is black magic. So if you were raised to believe you are ugly, stupid, or not good enough, and one day you realize that that isn't true, you are freed from the spell. So you can free yourself. But this is interesting. The reason why people come to people like me or other shaman or therapists or their friends is they're naturally reaching out to ask people to help them unravel the spells that they're under. And we're all under spells. That's just how we've been operating since we were kids. Our parents, they don't mean to, but they take their fears and speak from their fears and download them to us. If they were raised to believe money doesn't grow on trees and they make you believe that, then that is your new truth and that is the spell. If they raise you to believe that Democrats are evil or Republicans are evil, or those guys in that country are evil and we're good, or this religion is right and that one's wrong, or foreign cars are crap, like whatever the belief, if you give it sanction, if you allow it in, then it will take hold. So truth is the power that allows us to release those. And like a spell, we will go back to our natural movement. What is our natural movement? It's love. Natural movement is flow. Natural movement is freedom. Natural movement is courage. Natural movement is, I'm not even going to say self-confidence, because self-confidence is a mental thing. It's knowing. Being in a space of knowing is way more powerful than self-confidence, because self-confidence can be wavered. Knowing can't. No matter what happens or anybody tells you, nobody can put a spell on knowing. What else? Truth is, on a side note, truth is like my motivation. Now, my truth isn't necessarily your truth. There's local truth and then there's global truth. If these people over here on the planet still believe that the world is flat, then over there it's flat, and over here it's round. If I think I'm the best swimmer in the whole world, then that's local to me. Then I'm the only one that believes that until I prove it at, like, say, the Olympics, and then it becomes global. Another thing about where we get a lot of conflict is when we try to make our truth somebody else's truth, and sometimes it's a waste of energy. It's one thing to be motivated to share truth, but it's another, and this is a slippery slope, to try to shove your truth down somebody else's throat. It's like, allow yourself to have your reality, but allow them to have theirs. Especially if theirs is working for them. Like, if they're happy and their life is working, then what does it matter what they believe? You manage you do you. You figure out what your truth is and what your mistruths are, which are the things that aren't working for you, and you work on that, because you are a full-time job. Your ascension and your enlightenment and your progression and evolution through this planet is your job, and that's a full-time thing. So respect and honor that other people have different truths. That's like real world peace right there. Like, not everybody believing the same thing. That's not necessarily peace. Everybody being able to have a different truth and respect and understand and honor that space, like, that's legit real peace. See, that is my motivation for these videos. And this is gonna sound messed up, but I don't do these to help people. I do these because if I don't speak my truth, I'll explode. And as much as I love that, if this is gonna help you and this series serves you, then I will take that. That's a bonus, but that's not the point of this whole thing. The point of this whole thing is There are many mistruths out there. There are many spells. There are spells on a local level within individuals, and then there's spells cast over our entire society and our entire species. And a lot of these spells are doing real harm. And again, if they touch truth and they are destroyed, then they deserve to be destroyed. Then that's the way things are supposed to be. Truth is, again, it's not about right and wrong. It's about power. Like, the closer you are to the truth, the closer you are to power. The further you are from truth, the further you are from power. Once we reach a certain level of consciousness, we have a moral obligation to stand up for the truth, even if, you shake when you speak it. Truth is synonymous with love, and mistruth is synonymous with fear. And we've all been there. We've all had truths like save us. And we've all had sometimes truths, it looks like it blows up in our face, but really, I'll promise you this, that even though it looked like something blew up in your face because the truth came out, all it did was take away something that wasn't going to serve you anyway. It took something apart that would have just blown up in your face later down the road. So be thankful that the truth came out. And we've all had mistruths just take us down this slippery slope, like a bad episode of Full House, where we accidentally set the kitchen on fire and then we try to cover it up, and then Uncle Jesse, right? And it just goes and goes until finally the truth comes out anyway. The other thing about the truth is that it will always expose itself. It will always come about on its own. It is like a living organism, and it is so powerful that it can't be contained. The process of truth has been explained, or has been told to be, when you tell somebody the truth, sometimes there is first ridicule, then violent opposition, and then finally acceptance. So if you look at a lot of the truths that have come out, and we're talking, when quantum physics came out, and when the truth about lead poisoning came out, and when the truth about microorganisms and atoms came out, and the fact that the world was flat instead of round, people were getting burned at the stake for these things, because that was sacrilege for some reason. But these people endured, man. Like, they went down in the history books because they stood up for their truth. Like, humans have this beautiful capability, this vast spectrum of ability to be angelic on one side, and powerful and courageous and unstoppable and immovable. And then on the other side, we have this animalistic like quality, which is probably because we're in the bodies of mammals. So not a bad thing, but that's just how the law of the jungle, man. It's like you kill or be killed. So we have these tendencies to be animalistic, which is to be fearful, and that's how that part of our consciousness survives. And from that, go back to the Four Agreements, like, most people are domesticated like animals. Think about it. We are rewarded when we're quote unquote good, and we are punished when we are quote unquote bad. So the animal, just like you do a dog, the animal in us wants the reward and doesn't want to be punished. So there's two reasons to lie a lot of the time. So what is the good reason? And I ask myself this, especially like growing up when I used to do dirt. Like, I used to sell and steal and lie. And it finally occurred to me that I was just like, when I learned that I was just spewing black magic into my own life. I was like poisoning my own life. And when I just started to be accountable and stand up for the truth, no matter how hard it was, and just told it the way it was, at least to the best of knowledge that I had, then my life started to heal. And that was a big part of getting clean. Um, Addiction is not just about using drugs. It's about coming clean with yourself and being honest, because using drugs and being dishonest are two different ways to avoid life. So for all my fellow recovering addicts out there, if you're getting clean, then the next step is getting honest, if you haven't done that with yourself. We've been domesticated like animals, man, and we have to use our higher consciousness brain now, the angel side, the angelic side of ourselves. We have to start trusting that energy, that point of view, that consciousness, and know that when we speak the truth, no matter how hard it is, that's white light. That eliminates negative things from coming into our life. It, the darkness, the dishonesty that invites nasty things into our lives, not just people, but spirits. Straight up, you will attract negative spirits by putting out negative energy from dishonesty, and you will attract angelic people and angelic beings into your life by speaking truth. And I know it sounds like I'm really making this sound way more powerful than you think it is, but I know from personal experience, um, that when Don Miguel Ruiz was talking about this, that it was true, because um, I have lived in a place where I was ashamed of myself, and just created so many atrocities and messes in my life. And once I took a couple month period to just stop making messes in my life, and started creating from a space of honesty and love, which is love. Once I started creating from a space of love, my life started to finally work. And I no longer had to wonder, how is this decision going to affect my future? That's one of the things that I'm blessed to live with every day, is that I don't have to wonder what's coming down the pipeline. All I have to do is look at the energy I'm putting out in my life, and I know what's coming. I don't know exactly, like I don't see the future and stuff, but well, sometimes I do, but for the 99% of the time I don't. But I know that if I've been creating from a space of love, then I know that love is coming down the pipeline. I know that if I've been creating from a space of fear, then fear is coming down the pipeline. It's not philosophy, man, it's physics. That's all my heart has to say today. Um, Hit me up on westsideshaman.com, shiftbeforeyoucreate.com. Look for me on Facebook. Subscribe to my channel. Like it. Send me pictures of your favorite food. And just realize that, you know, creating a working, healthy, happy, successful life isn't hard. You just have to stop making messes and start creating from love. Inner peace out. Namaste.